Hey everybody, I thought I would talk with you today a little bit about the angels of medicine because I've been sick with shingles for the last couple of weeks. Shingles, if you don't know, is just basically resurgent chickenpox. What can I tell you? Sometimes it's triggered by stress, and that's what's happened to me lately. So, oh well, it happens. So it did give me a good opportunity to talk with you all about the angels of medicine, which are a set of angels in the Watchtower tablets that are actually relatively easy to work with. And you, depending on your interpretation, you can work with a set of them, one of them, all of them. There's really no reason to work with only one of them. It makes more sense to work with a set, and that'll make sense in just a minute. But I thought I'd just give a quick overview of where they're located and generally the sorts of things that you can ask of them. So here we go. So as you can see here, once again, Watchtower tablet, I start with that just to make everything else make sense. So now this is all written in Enochian letters, so I'll go through this relatively quickly because otherwise it won't make much sense. So this is the location where you find the angels of medicine. So I have the fire tablet up here, and I'm referring to the upper left quadrant. So it's pretty easy if you're ever looking for them. Where do I go for this? This is where you go. So if you can memorize where they are, great. If not, that's not that big of a deal. I just look it up anyway. So this is where you find them. So this first angel of medicine would be C. That's the angel, that's the letter V, but that's CZNS. Now, Aaron Leitch, who's an author, he says that you can include this middle letter, which is actually part of this name of God up here. And I tend to do that. I tend to just say, look, he says the reason you would include it is to have a more powerful name of the angel, and that's exactly why I do it. I just say, okay, CZONS, and like I'll just go for it. And then this would be the next one, TOITT, SIGAS, and then FMOND, and those would be the four angels of medicine of the fire tablet. And you can do the same thing with the water tablet, so on and so forth. So, and that's what you see here. Now, the next thing that you need to know, besides the names of the angels that go along with that, are the names of God that you would call upon in order to say, this is my authority and this is why. So I'm calling upon you in the names of IDOIGO, IDOIGO, and then ARDZA, ARDZA. And again, these are Enochian letters, but I've transcribed them here for you. And then the third thing you would need is the appropriate call, and in this case, it would be call 3. So that's pretty much it. It's actually not that hard. So what you would do is, as usual, you would take a look at the furniture that I have up there, as you can see, and, activate it however you choose to do that, whatever is working for you. I usually just do the instructions that are in Milo DuQuette's Enochian Vision Magic. And then which involves basically going around the table, saying the names of the letters that are there, the names of the central square, doing a short prayer, so on and so forth. But basically, it doesn't take me very long. Milo DuQuette says to go around the table 7 times. I actually do it only 3 if I'm in a hurry. That's been a new thing. It's just streamlines things a little bit. It doesn't really matter. I mean, 7 is good in that, 7 is a number that God made holy. And 3 is good in the sense that, it's the divine number. So what I usually do is I will activate the furniture. I will go ahead and I'll usually say calls 1 and 2. That's just sort of a standard thing. And then I will go ahead and say the appropriate calls. Now, the question is, do you want to call just one set of angels, or do you want to call all of them? And I err on the side of calling all of them, especially when you're sick. You don't want to deal with that for any longer than you have to. It doesn't feel good. And the other thing is, having a good place to start from in terms of being healthy, that enables a lot of other things. It's not, I mean, we're all human, we can get sick, we can get this and that. But so that's what I'll do. I'll go ahead and call on all of them. Now, are you needing more time to do that? Yes. So what's the theory behind calling only one set of them or a couple of sets of them, but not all of them? Well, the theory goes that you would call upon a set of angels if you strongly suspected you knew the elemental nature of what was going on. So, for example, let's say, in my case, shingles, it's an inflammation of the skin, right, is sort of the main presenting problem. So in that case, just call on the fire angels, right? I could have done that. But knowing what we know about medicine and stuff like that, we know that, stress might be a cause of that. Okay, fire, stress, energy, stuff like that. But if you're stressing out and you get shingles, let's say because you have a swim meet, right? Well, then what's the real cause of that? Is it the water? Is it the fire? Thinking conceptually, right? What set of angels would you call on? You don't really know, right? Or maybe it's, the constant thinking about it, right? Thinking having a very airy sense to it. Okay, well, maybe I shouldn't, maybe I need to call on that, right? And you don't know at the end of the day, right? Well, like, which one is it? So instead of thinking that necessarily, how about just call on all of them? And then if it's really just one set of them that's going to get the job done, then okay, great. But all your bases are covered, to use a baseball metaphor. So that's the idea there. So yeah, and just as far as the general update with me, I have no idea if one of the reasons I was supposed to do that, was supposed to stop was because I was ultimately going to get shingles. Maybe I needed a little bit more time to integrate everything. And I think there's multiple things going on here. So maybe the break was, and then the being sick to prolong the break, those were things that I needed to have the time in order to integrate stuff. But things are going relatively well as far as that's concerned. I'm very lucky to be in a job and to have health care and all of that and be in a position to get well and to recover. So I'm very grateful for that. But by and large, I have really been just sort of thinking symbolically about what's going down. So the work with Archangel Michael or Saint Michael, depending on how you choose to refer to him. I kind of call him Archangel Michael just because I wasn't raised Catholic. But however you choose to identify that, he's been very helpful to me. And also thinking about him and his background. And it's been interesting trying to work with him in more of a medieval sense, right? Because Michael wasn't always associated with the sun as he is today. He used to be associated more with the planet Mercury. And so thinking about him in that way, and the dispenser of medicine in particular, right? It's been interesting having him, working with him and really coming to understand this larger archetype that he's working with. But that's been pretty helpful, and it's sort of helped me understand his role in rectifying the world that we live in and the reality that we live in. And really, his name in particular is a big hint as far as him being sort of like I don't want to call him like a fractal version of God, but it's a through line. How about that? That if you follow that and are able to extrapolate from what his work is, then you can answer a lot of questions pretty well. So that's what's going on there. I'm anticipating not necessarily a very quick recovery. It has been a couple weeks. And so I'm anticipating probably another week or two, just whatever the regular course of shingles is. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. I've called on the Angels of Medicine. Interestingly, the main thing I've felt is fatigue, so I'm not in a lot of pain, which I'm very, very grateful for. I'm relatively young to be getting shingles, but not old. So I'm not old enough to have gotten the vaccine, unfortunately, because of the way our laws are written about it and the way the studies are set up and all of that. I'm hoping that will change in the future. I've told people who I know who are old enough to get the vaccine, get the vaccine. But anyway, ironically enough, right? Like I probably would be just fine if I had been able to get it, but you know, I'm not really going to question too much about how things are going, but anyway, so you know, I'm just going to do my work and then get through it as best I can. So anyway, if you have any questions about this, let me know. So you're going to, if you don't have the furniture, by the way, I do have that on my website. I always try to like mention that and reiterate that in these videos. You can print off the stuff, you know, if you have Microsoft Excel and you're able to download a font, and specifically the Enochian font and the Enochian flip font, then you can print out all this stuff. I understand that, you know, economically we don't all have that at our disposal, but in terms of like the ability to make furniture, you know, I do try to like lay out stepwise. This is like an easier way to do that. But obviously, if you don't have the money, you don't have the money to do that, and it's relatively costly. But which is why I try to like make sure the furniture is readily available. You can print off a version of it, that is to say, as a good substitute, because that way, you know, you may not have done the work, but you've done the work to try to find the answer or try to find an alternative. And I've done the work to make sure that it's out there, you know, and I've only done the work because I've been inspired to do it. But the whole thing adds up, right? It's sort of like, you know, if you watch a movie where all the characters come together and they're working together, and because they're working together in that team-oriented manner, suddenly they're able to get the job done. That's sort of the way I look at it. Like, I'm helping you, you're helping yourself, you're looking for this. We're all trying to just get the thing that we need, you know, get things coming in at the right angle, at the right way, at the right time. So, or leaving something behind so that somebody else can discover it. You know, that's what I'm trying to do with this stuff. So anyway, you can print that off, and just make sure you print it off in color. Just if you want, like, I mean, I'm assuming that the effect is better when it's in color because that's what the Angels had. So, but yeah, pretty much all the furniture that you could want to print off, I have done. And I also have a version of Liber Loga, which I still haven't completely updated yet. I'll probably do that at the end of the Drosiah ritual when that comes up. So anyway, that's it. If you have any questions about this, leave them in the comments. I'll answer them. I usually answer within about a day. And yeah, that's it. So thank you so much for watching, and good luck out there.